Okay. I did it! I am iron! And that was no mean feat, and it really wasn't given. Here's my medal. Amazing. And I got engraved on the back with my times and that, but do you know what? It's not about the times, it's just about finishing it. And, you know, when I set out to do this thing, I wasn't really sure if I was going to be able to do it or not. And literally, things came together on the day and I managed it, and it really wasn't given. And if I was to do the whole thing again, I'm still not sure I could actually do it. It's that difficult. The swim, because I'm not like an uber great swimmer, it took me the full time to do the swim and transition together. So I think I did the swim at about 140, which is actually a lot slower than what I usually do the swim in, but I think it was because they changed the route to be anti-clockwise, and the route at the back of the swim was I just felt like I wasn't going anywhere. I was swimming and swimming and the buoy was coming no closer. My hands actually were cold at the end, but I'd left some hand warmers in the little pink bag they give you to run to transition in, so I put those in my hands, and by the time I got to transition my hands were warm, so thank goodness for that. And the swim was probably the easiest part. It was a calm day, the sun was shining, like you couldn't have hoped for better waters. And the run from swim to transition was fine too. So the swim was just long. I think I went a bit off course as well. Like there was just so many people in the water, and I was a bit wide. So I'll be interested to see what that looks like on Strava. And then I was onto the bike. So because I took the full time for swim and transition, I then started the bike with like the minimum allocation I could possibly have, really. And I was chasing the bike cut-off the entire time, and I think I missed the cut-off by about 25 minutes, which to me is a bit tight. But I was very aware of how tight it was, which was good because it made me get a welly on towards the end. The hills, I think with Tenby, having done quite a lot of, you know, hilly bike stuff, we always say it's not really a hill unless it's on Garmin. And there are 16 hills in Tenby on Garmin, but actually there's so many undulations that there's quite a lot more. We did something called Centurion a few weeks ago, and that had 22 hills, really steep, harsh hills, and they were good. But between those hills, it was a little bit flatter at Centurion. Although I couldn't really call the course flat, and it was only 56 miles and 112. So this is just a sort of different type of course. Anyway, I managed to make the cut off for the bike, took the full time for transition, I think 15 minutes or something, and then I got out on the run course with 6.5 hours to spare to do the marathon, which, you know, you'd think 6.5 hours is fine, yeah, no problem, let's do a marathon with 6.5 hours, but when your legs don't work, suddenly that becomes a challenge. Anyway, we always had this strategy, or I did, and I think most people do, is walk the hills and walk uphill and run down them. So that is exactly what I did. Thing is, you've got to be quite disciplined, because when your mind is going, I really can't be bothered to do this, like a slight incline, you start determining it as a hill, or a flat that you're not really sure if it's a hill is definitely a hill in your head. So you have to be a little bit disciplined. This is not a hill you must run, and that's really hard to get your head around. Anyway, so I ran the downhills, which meant that I was actually running downhill about 10-minute miling because I was just using gravity. But then as soon as they hit the flat or the up, I'd just walk again. And again, I was chasing cut-off. They give you these bands. So on the first lap, they give you a red band, and you very quickly get band envy because you have to get 4 bands to go into the finish line, do 4 laps. So, you know, you get the red one, and then you're looking at everybody's wrist going, oh God, they got 4, they got 3. And the field of people participating in that event is quite high. The standard is very high. So, you know, I was like right at the sort of end of I think I came in like, I don't know, 1,200 or something out of 1,400. So I was right at the bottom. I don't care, and that's fine, but that just shows you like, I'm not useless. I'm quite decent. And I was right at the back. So yeah, so I was at about mile 25. I was sick. The support in Tenby is second to none, like amazing. And I was outside this pub, running past the pub, not having a drink, and they were all there sat outside with their music, going, "Come on, you can do it!" And I literally stopped, walked over to the side of the road, and I was sick on the curb. It was just disgusting. It looked like I just rolled out of the bar drunk, and I really just was not in a good place. And they all went completely silent, like, oh. And anyway, I sort of got up, well, like, and carried on running, and they just roared, you know, "Yeah, you got this." I mean, I was so close to the finish line. Sorry for anyone who has to clear that up. Anyway, I was also sick later. I think my body just couldn't cope with the food that I'd taken on. And also it was just saying no, maybe, I don't know what I didn't have, but obviously my body wasn't coping very well. I'm so glad that happened at the end and not near the beginning. Nutrition wise, that was so difficult to fuel for because you just don't want to eat. I had these rice blocks, you know, remember from the other videos I showed you the rice blocks actually saving grace. And I had 2 rice blocks, that's all I could manage. I had a bit of salmon in transition and early in the day, but I just didn't want to eat. And then I had Tailwind, which is like a protein powder, and I did keep supping on that, and I think that probably gave me the energy I needed. Towards the end, when I was doing the marathon, I started taking on like little chews and things that were on the side. That didn't do me any favours at all. I can't stand all of that processed stuff, and it really upsets my stomach. So it might have been that. Bananas were brilliant. So every time I saw a banana, like little quarters of bananas they were giving out, I had one of those, and I think that really helped me. Like I just needed real food, and I had electrolytes in my water where I could. So yeah. So now, where it says here, I will become one. I became one. I am now Ironman. Call me Iron, everyone. I deserve that. Yeah, my buddy Alan also managed to get through. He did really well actually. So credit to him for all of the efforts there, and you know, credit also to everybody who took part, even if, you know, some people didn't finish, and it's so easy to DNF, as I realised on my way. So, you know, well done to all who took part. I will post some videos of the day, but yeah, I feel like this is mine.